Hello. Good morning, everyone. So, welcome everyone to the week 3 Fit 5136 software engineering. This is week 3. We will talk about the requirement analysis. I have seen in the comment the feedback as well. Some of the students ask when we will learn about the user story. So it is going to be this week, okay? And within this week, we're gonna talk about what is the user story, what is the invest principles, how can we craft the user story and make sure that they are aligned with the invest principles as well. And then for each of the user story, we need to estimate as well using the story point estimation. There are a bunch of techniques, and then we will learn about that. And how can we ensure that the acceptance, the user story is met? So we need to create the acceptance criteria and the definitions of done as well. We will talk about that. What are they? Okay, so this is the general overview of this week lecture. Yeah, and I'm just go back to this overview picture again. As I mentioned before, this is a software engineering unit, and then we're gonna learn the lecture content and make sure that everything is aligned with the Agile Scrum project management. It's going to be a journey, and right now we are still at the requirement engineering phase. We as a product owner need to elicit the requirement. That's what we learned from last week. And now for each of the requirement, we need to classify into the functional requirement, non-functional requirement, and how can we make it make the requirement into the user story. Okay, so that's what we are going to learn today. All right, just a recap. What are the requirements? Okay, so basically the requirement will determine whether your software is complete or correct. It tells you the specification of the piece of software, what are the features will be. It provides the description, the high level of the software that you are going to develop, right? And normally the requirements are usually determined by the product owner, but other stakeholder might have some input as well. So basically, I would say that it will be a cross-functional team, okay? The product owner elicit the requirement, but the client also can state the requirement as well. This is what I need, this is what I want to do, or the end users as well, or the CEO or whatsoever. They can provide the requirements to the product owner, but the product owner have to capture, have to understand or analyze what are the requirements, translate into Make sure that the text the textual description that we put into the requirement document is actually accurate, complete, and correct. Okay. For example, right? The requirement, let's say here, the tax office determine whether your GST or payroll tax computations are correct, not only your client. So when you want to compute the GST or the payroll tax, that kind of thing, it's not just about us, not just about the employees, right? But it includes the tax office as well, ATO, that kind of thing. So the ATO office can also provide the requirement as well, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, the team will advise the product owner what are the requirement is, okay, and they need to craft it into the nice way, make sure that they are accurate as well. Yeah. And because requirements tell you what behavior is considered correct, right? They are hugely important to in terms of the software testing as well. Because how can we ensure that one of the feature is actually delivered or included in the final application, that kind of thing. So we need to test as well, and we cannot test it without the right requirement. For example, if I give you a requirement, I want a login page, okay, that a user can successfully log in securely to the system, that kind of thing. This is something that can be tested because to test this login feature, we can put the username and the password, right? But let's say as a user, I want to log in securely, but as a end user, I want to buy products easily. This is a requirement that is quite vague and is not testable. This is not the right requirement at all. What do you mean by I want to buy the products? But what exactly is the feature? is unclear, right? We cannot test it. So, and yeah, each test should be able to be traced back to the corresponding requirement. In some of the software engineering practices, people use a requirement traceability matrix. Basically, you have a column of the requirement and a column of the test cases or the acceptance test to write down the step. What are the steps that need to be done to confirm that this feature or this requirement is delivered, it is tested properly, okay? Yeah, so that's the requirement. And yeah, in the past, right, we use a traditional process. It is very text heavy. It is text based as well. Normally we call software requirement specification, SRS. We need to complete the requirement elicitation phase, requirement engineering phase before we can design the software, before we can develop the software. But now, and this is whatever happened in the past as well, PRD, Program Requirement Document, or Software Requirement Specification, they are the same. It is just something in the middle, the communication channel between the programmers and the software analysts, right, or business analysts. It is something in the middle. This is what happened in the past, but in the agile phase, right, in the agile process, we want to make the requirement engineering phase, make it more lightweight. So instead of having the product or program requirement document as a middle part here, we're gonna the requirement will be elicited together. Okay, so the product owner will sit together with the developers and explain the requirement to them. Product owner elicit the requirement from the business analyst. Okay, but at the same time, when we elicit the requirement, developers can be there as well, right? So they can provide or ask some questions about the technical requirement. Let's say clients say that I want to develop a mobile application for online shopping. But as a product owners who are not really an expert in the technical development, they may miss some of the questions. For example, when you want to develop a mobile application as a developer, right, you can ask this question to the client. When you want to develop a mobile application, do you want cross-platform or just the iOS application or the Android application? So this kind of questions can pop up during the requirement elicitation phase as well, which must be asked by the developers, but it may be overlooked by the product owner. All right. Yeah. So what is the agile approach to the requirement phase, right? The idea is that it can be very hard to nail down a complete set of the requirements in advance. So we won't try to do that. It is so hard. Requirement is very vague. We often start from nothing until something, right? So normally the product owner will involve in the development, the requirement, this kind of thing as well. We want to get something up and running as quickly as possible. We want to get the product owner to pick which feature to add next based on the client priorities. Product owner will sit in the agile team. There will be I think I should mention this as well. In the agile team, there are three main roles: product owner, scrum master, and the agile development team. All right. Product owner will act as a client in the agile team, and they will be the person who talk or interact with the client mainly. Scrum master is like a facilitator. They will try to facilitate the team to make sure that they are aligned with the Scrum process. And the agile development team, they just focus on the development based on product owner. Okay, make sense? Yeah. So the product owners have to talk to the client, right, about the priorities as well. It's about task prioritization, which feature that we are going to deliver in the next sprint, that kind of thing. Okay. And yeah, as a product owner, they want to add as much value as possible to the iteration, to the agile sprint. The key goal of the agile methodology, right? We want to deliver the most valuable products to the customer. So that's why agile focus on the values rather than the other thing. Okay. Yeah, and we're gonna repeat like this for every of the sprint. And yeah, that's the agile approach to the requirement. And try to remember, in the agile approach, we prefer collaboration over the exhaustive documentation. In the waterfall, we often write the software requirement specification (SIS). It is very documentation heavy, but for the agile, we only write just enough information so the developers or the team can estimate what is the purpose of this feature and estimate what is how much effort that is required to implement this feature as well. Okay. I have got a question in the Zoom chat. Sorry, I have a misunderstanding about the product owner role. Is this role between the client and developers, or it is exactly the client side? I would say that product owner will sit within the agile team. It is still part of the development team. Okay, and that means it will act between the client and the developers. Okay, so the I would say that the clients are not, no, sorry, the product owners are not the client. Clients are the clients. They are not the product owners. But the product owner, let's say I work in a Microsoft. I'm a product owner. I elicit the requirement from most of the client and the end users, right? Okay, you want the VS Code editor to be like this, A, B, C, D. And as a product owner, I need to develop the product roadmap. In the first few months, we need to deliver the Copilot. In the next few months, we need to release a new feature like AI for pull request, AI for code review, or whatsoever. So that's the role of the product owner. Determine everything. What is the next feature that we are going to deliver? Okay, yeah. All right, so that's the agile requirement. Yeah, and remember that there is a customer representative on side of the developers as well. The product owner has no need to write everything down in great details. Yeah, because agile is agile, we do not focus on the heavy or exhaustive documentation. We only write the just enough information on the requirement. Agile requirement documents are prompt or reminders about conversation with the product owner. Okay, and because in the agile software development process, right, we often capture the requirement as a user story. And basically, the user story is a short description of something that a user would want to do with the system. And each user story describes a feature that adds value as well. So that means the user story must be valuable, must have some value. It's not just like, it's a little bit hard to come up with some poor user stories, okay? So I'm gonna skip that, all right? And agile requirement documents are essentially collections of the user story. Yeah, that's right. So the requirement documents in the agile process, right? We often talk about the user stories only, and I'm gonna talk about the high level. How to come up with the user story, how to come up with the product roadmap later as well, all right? Yeah, and this approach actually came out of the Ken Babb early work on the extreme programming. User story is originated from the XP. Yeah, and this is the structure of the product roadmap. All right. Normally, we need to come up with the theme. The high level, the requirement can be written in many granularities, right? Granularity levels, it can be the theme, the feature, the user story, or the details, that kind of thing, or the epic as well. But at the end of the day, all of this must be aligned with the InVest principles on the right side of your screen. That's the quality attributes of the story. It must be understandable, it must be independent, it must be negotiable, it must be valuable. That's the agile principles, right? It must be estimable as well. It must be small enough so we can implement it, we can estimate it, and it must be testable. All right, okay? So that's the key point. That's the InVest principles that it needs to be aligned. Theme. What is the theme, right? Theme is the high level. And then each of the let me I actually have a few examples in the next few slides as well, probably at the end of the lecture. But let me try to come up with some example. Let's say online shopping. The theme can be a payment system. Okay, this is a payment gateway. We need the convenient payment system. This is the theme. But how can we develop the convenient payment system? The feature can be, okay, it must be connected. The mobile, the online shopping system may be connected with the MasterCard, with the Visa. That's the credit card payment. It must be connect. It should allow the PayPal payment as well. It must allow the EPOS system, that kind of thing. That's a feature, right? Okay, and it can break down into the different user story as well. And to ensure that each of the user story is met, we need to come up with what is the business rules, what is the acceptance test, how the UI prototype look like, and for each of the feature, each of the user story, what is the activity diagram, how each of the system will interact with each other. In the payment system, we have the mobile app. It should connect with the payment gateway, connect to the bank system, that kind of thing. That's the activity diagram, okay? Another question in the Zoom chat, does the technical requirement count as functional or non-functional in this game? Okay, I would say that if you go back to the, in this case, yeah, so I would say that if you go back to the last week lecture, there are different types of the requirement. I would not say that technical requirements are part of the functional requirement or the non-functional, but it should stand, it should be a standalone technical requirement. Call it as a technical requirement. What I mean is that in the last week we talked about business requirement. We want to increase the sales profit. The functional requirement, we want a mobile application that can that a client can browse or search the product. Non-functional requirement, that kind of feature, the search product feature must be user friendly or whatsoever. And the technical requirement, that feature should be equipped within the both mobile iOS and the Android application, that kind of thing. So it doesn't mean that technical requirement is part of the functional or non-functional, but it should be a standalone technical requirement. Yep, makes sense. Okay, all right. So what is the user story? As I mentioned before, yeah, user story is originally from the XP programming, extreme programming, right? But now we're gonna use it in the Scrum as well. And in short, a user story is a short description of something. Yeah. I think this slide we have talked about that as well before, right? A user story is an informal general explanation of a software feature written from the perspective of the end user or the customer. All right, and the purpose of the user story is to articulate how a piece of work will deliver a particular value back to the customer. This is the general definition, right? And let's say if you look at the picture on the right side here, we have what is this? This should be the property management system, right? We need to manage the vacancy, manage the properties, manage or find the tenants, the candidate, that kind of thing. No, this is not the what is that? What is this system? Not the property management system whatsoever. But for each of the theme, each of the epic, that kind of thing, you can write down several user story here. For example, as an employer, I want to submit a job application. As an employer, I want to register as a blah 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 blah. That kind of thing. Okay, that will be a format as well. I'm gonna talk about that here. User story should be succinct, a succinct description of action a user would want to do in the system, and they are written in the following structure. As a user, who is that person, right? I want to, what is the goal? So that what is the benefit? What is the value that brings to the software system or the product? For example, as a who wants to accomplish something, I want to blah blah blah, so that blah blah blah. Benefit is optional, but it is quite important as well. We should write it. Look at the right side, the right figure. That's an example. As a wiki user, I want to upload a file to the Wikipedia so that I can share it with among colleagues. Okay, that's an example of the user story. As a survey participant, let's say this is a Google form. Okay, Google form system. As a survey participant, I want an indication of progress so that I know how much I have left to complete. As a customer, I would like the system to not corrupt the database. This is not a good example of the user story. To not, okay, this is a naked, okay, it doesn't tell what it should be, it only tells what it should not be. So that's not the right user story, okay. There are different types of the user story, but how can we ensure that they are good, right? So that's why we need to align with the INVEST principles, and I'm gonna talk about that. What are they? Okay. INVEST principles stand for independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, small, and testable. Independent, it means that they are self-contained and it can be stand alone. Okay. Negotiable, it means that they are easy to change, discard, or replace as well. We can ignore this one. We can postpone this user story to the next sprint, that kind of thing. It is negotiable. It's not dependent on something. Valuable, it must be valuable. It should describe something that the end user cares about. It is estimable as well. That means it should be in a good size that we can estimate how long it will take to implement this feature as well, to implement this user story. It should be small enough to be able to be confident about the estimate as well. If it is too large, then it's hard to estimate, right? For example, as a user, I want an online shopping system. Probably this is too large because one online shopping system, it contains many features, right? It's not small enough, so this is not a good one. Testable, it needs to be able to ensure that when the user story has been implemented as well, so it should be testable. Yeah. One question in the Zoom chat: does valuable also align with the business value? I think so, right? So anything that is valuable is about value. It could be the values to the business. It could be values to the customer as well, as long as it is valuable. Yeah, it has value to someone. Okay, yeah. And yeah, what does it mean by the independent? Yeah, it shouldn't depend closely on the other user story, right? It should be able to move them around as well in the backlog or in the Kanban or between the release during the release planning. For example, what is considered as a non-dependent user story? As a user, as a client, I want to print the receipt after the checkout, after the payment is complete. Okay, so this is not the right user story because it is dependent on some of the features. Print the receipt. It depends on the what is that, after the payment. After finish the shopping online shopping, that kind of thing, you know. So this is not the right user story. But if it is dependent like this, you should break it down into the two user story. As a customer, I want to print the receipt so that I know what I purchased today. Okay. As a customer, I want to complete the payment. As a customer, I want to do the payment using several payment options like credit card, EFTPOS, or PayPal, that kind of thing. So it is convenient to me, that kind of thing. Okay. Another question in the Zoom chat: how can we use story map and story point to aid us with user story? What does it mean? Maybe you can clarify the questions again. Okay, yeah, so that's the independent. Next is negotiable. It should be able to modify, extend, and delete it as well. As the team and the product owner learn more about the project, right? As the external constraint and internal priority change, there are so many factors that happen during the product development. So the user story itself should be able to modify, extend, delete it. That's the negotiable part. Okay, yeah. Valuable, yeah, it should be valuable to the customer, but I would say that also to the business value as well. Okay, product owner and team use customer value to design which stories to put into the sprint backlog during the sprint planning. That's the purpose of the agile process, right? We talk about the values. Yeah. Estimable. We need to be able to estimate how much effort each story will require. So they need to be small enough for this to work, and they need to be well understood as well. This estimate of effort will determine how many user stories the team will put into the sprint backlog during the sprint planning. What I mean is that once the user story is estimable, right? Then we know each of the sprint we have 2 weeks. What is the budget? Because this user story requires this amount of effort, then we know what is the remaining effort that we have during the sprint, that kind of thing. Okay, so it is very helpful during the task prioritization as well. It should be small enough. It should not be too large. So otherwise we cannot fit this user story in the sprint, right? Let's say one of the user story require, let's say, 6 months, okay, to complete. As a user, I want an online shopping system. Probably it will take like half a year or 1 year to complete, which is too big, and we cannot fit it into the sprint. That's why it's not a good user story. And a rule of thumb, a single user story shouldn't take more than 50% of the effort on a sprint. If you have 2 weeks sprint, one user story should be like less than a week, that kind of thing. Okay. If your user story is too big, consider breaking it down. As I mentioned before, yeah, I want as a user, I want an online shopping mobile application. This is probably too big, but you need to break it down into small features, that kind of thing. All right, and it should be testable as well. This is very important if you practice the test-driven development. Test-driven development means that you, based on the requirement, you want to write the test cases before you write the code. Let's say you have a requirement, we want to implement a calculator, the summation function. Probably you may come up with the test case 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4. That's the test cases, and then you start implement the code. It should return A + B, and then you can test it. Okay, this is what happened during the test-driven development. Yeah, okay. As usual, we're gonna do some quiz again. All right, let's go to the Flux quiz, flux.qa mt 8 ng2, the same link. All right. Okay. Yep. Maybe I'll post the link in the Zoom chat. Okay, everyone ready? Yep, we will start the first question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, which of the following is an example of an epic? Okay, an epic. I should start the session. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Which of the following is an example of an epic? First, the first choice, as a user, I want to be able to reset my password. B, implement a payment gateway. C, as a customer, I want to be able to leave product reviews. D, dog, optimize page load times. Yeah. What is an epic? If you are not sure, the epic is a higher level of the user story. All right. Yep, 66. 70 people have answered. $73. Let's try to get 100. Okay. 80 people. I don't know whether I should wait or not. Maybe let's move on. Okay. We have 80 people answer now. Okay. I'm gonna pause and see the poll results. Okay. Implement a payment gateway. Yes. I would say that this is the correct answer. Clearly, A and C, they are the user story, and they should not be an example of the epic. Alright, so epic is the epic, not the user story. Let's go back to this one again. Okay, the high level here. So theme, when we write the requirement, as I mentioned before, requirement can be written in many granularity levels. First, it can be the theme, it can be the feature, it can be the user story, and the epic, right? So normally the epic is the higher level of the user story. It should not be written in the FR format. Okay, so I would say that in this case, choice B should be the correct answer. We want to implement a gateway, a payment gateway, that kind of thing, and there could be multiple user story under the epic as well. Okay. Yep. Next question. Yep. Start. Okay. What is a user story? Yeah. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna pause this question now. In 3, 2, 1. Okay. Yep. Let's see the result. Oh, everyone got it correctly. Thank you. Okay, so basically the user story is a narrative description of a software feature from the user perspective. Okay. All right. Next question. Who typically write the user stories? And thank you, Jamie. You mentioned that user story is a brief description of an outcome for a specific user, which is a promise for a conversation to clarify details. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, okay. For this one, who typically write user stories? Project managers, developers, designers, or cross-functional teams, including users, product owners, and the developers who write the user stories. Let's try to get 80 people to answer, and then we're gonna pause in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the normally the user stories are written by the, I would say, cross-functional teams. Okay. Now, mainly I would say product owners, but during the requirement elicitation, the users, the developers should sit together. It should be brainstorming, a brainstorming session. and come up with the user story and everyone agrees together, right? It's not like a sole responsibility by someone. Project manager, they are different from the product manager or the product owners. Project managers, they just manage the projects, but they may not elicit the requirement, they may not write the user stories. So in this case, I would say that the right answer should be the cross-functional teams, okay? And mainly the key responsibility is the product owners, not the project manager. Okay, next, yep, start. What does the term story point refer to in agile estimation? Is it the number of tasks required to complete a user story, the time will take to implement a user story, a unit of measure representing the overall effort or complexity of a user story, or the numbers of bugs associated with a user story? Which one? Let's try to get 80 people to answer, and then we can move on to the next question. All right, I'm gonna pause in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the answer should be choice C. Story point is just the unit of measure, okay, representing the overall effort that is required to complete a user story. It's not about the numbers of tasks, okay. It doesn't mean that it is the numbers of tasks, and it's not about the time it takes. It's not the actual effort spent. It's not the amount of hours. It's not like that, or how many days to complete. It's just a unit of measure, okay? And the story point can be, we can use many techniques to estimate the story point as well. Okay, next. What is the INVEST, what is the INVEST acronym used for in relation to user stories? What is the INVEST principles? Is it to use to estimate the project timeline? Is it used to assess the quality of the user stories? Is it used to planning marketing campaigns? Is it used to identify the potential risks in software development? Very easy. Yep, what is the INVEST acronym used for in relation to user stories? All right. I'm gonna pause this question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Yep. So, yep, that's right. The answer should be B-boy. INVEST principles only used to assess the quality of the user story. It's not about for estimating the project timeline. Okay, it's not about that. And of course, clearly, it's not about the marketing campaign. It should not be that. And it's not about the risk management as well. It's about the quality of the user story, whether it is independent or not. It is estimable or not. It is valuable or not. Is it negotiable? Is it small enough? And is it testable? All right. Okay. What does I in INVEST stand for? I just tell the answer. What is that? I'm gonna pause this question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the results clearly, yeah, it should be independent. All right, let's go back to the lecture. Okay, the lecture slide. Invest principle, the first one is the independent. Okay, so it should be self-contained. It can be standalone as well. Okay, next, which of the following statement best describe the N in the invest principle? What is N? Very easy again. I hope everyone will get the correct answer. Yep, 65, 66. Okay, I'm gonna pause in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's see the results. Oh, okay, not everyone. So N, it means that the user story should be negotiable between the team and the stakeholder. It's not about small, that's the S one. Okay, and it's not about the specific and well defined. Stories should be structured in a way that they can be easily understood by everyone, but it's not about N. N, we talk about negotiable. Okay, yeah. All right, next, why is it important for user story to be valuable according to the invest principles? What do you think? First, it ensures that the user story is interesting. It helps to prioritize the work based on the customer needs. It ensures that the user story is technically feasible. It helps in estimating the effort required for the development. Okay, I'm gonna pause this question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's see the results. Actually, the answer should be B-boy. Okay, we focus on the prioritization based on the customer need. Yeah, okay, the variable. Yeah, they describe something that the end user cares about. Okay, back to here, we focus the variable. It means that we need to decide which story to put into the sprint backlog during the sprint planning. So everything is about the customer. Okay, it adds value to the customer. All right. Okay, so it's about the prioritization based on the customer need. Whatever they need, we need to prioritize them. Okay, that's the variable. Yep. Okay, which statement best describe the E in the invest principle? What is the E? What is that? Stories should be estimated before they are considered for implementation. Stories should be easily understandable by all team members. Stories should be evaluated based on their impact on the project timeline. Stories should be broken down into small manageable tasks. Yeah, E. Okay, I'm gonna pause this question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Alright, so actually the right answer should be A, okay? E is the estimable, right? It should be sufficiently well understood, well defined that the team can estimate how long they will take to implement. I mentioned before, right? It's not about it should be evaluated based on their impact on the project timeline. No, it's about estimable. With this user story, we can estimate, right? Yeah. Story should be easily understandable. No, it's not about understandable. It's not about the small, okay? Small is the next one, small, S, okay? Yep. Okay, next question. Yeah. I just tell the answer. According to the INVEST principle, what does the S stand for? I hope to get 100% correct. Okay. What is the S? Okay. Super easy. This one. Okay, I'm gonna pause the quiz in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, 76 people, and let's see what is the majority of the answer. We still got 6 people. Answer sustainable. No. S is a small. It should be small enough to be able to be confident about the estimate, right? So it should be small. Yeah. What is considered not small? As a client, I want a mobile application for online shopping. This is like way too big. It may take like a year to complete, right? As I mentioned before, that small means that it should fit, okay? It should take less than 50% of the effort on a sprint. Let's say this is a 2-week sprint. It should be when it is considered small, it means that it should take less than a week to implement it, okay? Yeah, so if it is too big, you need to break it down. All right. S, small. Okay. Next. Yeah. Which of the following is an example of a user story written using the as a user role? I want so that This is very easy again. Yeah. We need 100% correct. Okay. Is that too challenging for everyone? Okay, 62. Yeah, let's try to get 80 people to answer, and then we're gonna move on to the next question. All right, I'm gonna pause the quiz, only this question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Let's see the answer. Yeah, so the answer should be as a customer. You know what a user story should be written in this format, right? As a customer, the user role, I want to be able to track my orders online so that I can monitor their progress. Okay, that's the right user story. All right, next. As a user, I want to be able to log in to the system using my email and password so that I can access my account securely. Choose the option that best describes its compliance. Whether this user story follow the INVEST principles, whether they violate the INVEST principles or not, whether this user story partially adheres to the INVEST principles, or none of the above. Probably no one will answer D. It should be either A, B, C. As a user, I want to be able to log into the system. That's a goal. Using my email and password. Good detail, yeah. So that I can access my account securely. That's a benefit. What is the answer here? Whether it follows the INVEST principles or not, or violate the INVEST principles, or just partially adheres to the INVEST principles. And if I have to reiterate what the inverse principle is, then I is an independent, N negotiable, V variable, E estimable, S small, and T testable. Yep, so I'm gonna pause the quiz in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright. Next, the answer. Okay. I try to understand. So actually the correct answer for this one, it actually follow the inverse principles. Okay. It doesn't violate anything. It's not partially adhere and not the none of the above as well. I would like to understand as well why it is partially adheres to the inverse principles. Anyone want to speak or not? If not, then I'm gonna move to the next question.
Sorry, I think I'm just gonna answer this.
Okay, sure.
Because I chose the third option because I think it violates the S principle, small. I just thought it's too long for a user story. It's giving details such as like using email and password.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
that's what I choose.
right. Very good point. So we need to differentiate between small and the specific. It is different, right?
Yeah.
I would say that in this case, it is quite specific. It is quite detailed, which is the good thing, right?
Yeah.
And it is small enough as well because it is specific already that we want to implement the login system using the email and the password, not the multi-factor authentication, not the Google account, not the Facebook login, not the Twitter, that kind of thing, which is good. Yeah. So that means I would say that for this one, it is small enough. Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Beautiful. I'm gonna move to the next question. Yep. As a user, I want a button to click. Okay. Identify the principle. I would say the inverse principles. Okay. That this user story violates. Yeah. Which one? Which principle that this user story violates? When you read this user story, what is the first question that you ask yourself? I would like to know as well. You can type in the Zoom chat. Yeah. Probably you ask, what the hell is this feature? As a user, I want a button to click. Okay, for what? Yeah. Okay, so 70 people have answer. Let's say I'm gonna pause in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're gonna discuss this one together. Okay, the results. I would say that the correct answer to this one should be valuable, right? The user story itself is not valuable at all. Why do we need this feature? Why do we need a button to click? You know, so it's not clear at all. What? Okay, maybe, yeah, in the Zoom chat, is it too vague? Yes, it is too vague, and it's vague enough so the product owner or the development team don't know the value of this feature, of this user story. What do you want to happen when the button clicks? Yeah, that's right. What do you want to happen when the button is clicked? That's right. So yeah, it doesn't tell the benefit, right? It lacks the so that part, or even the purpose is not clear. Why do we need this user story? Okay. Why the answer is not independent? It is independent enough, right? It doesn't rely on any feature. Let's say if it's not independent, it should be, as a user, I want to click I want a button to click after something. That's the dependent user story, right? Make sense? So for this one, it is independent itself. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next. Okay. It's going to be even harder. As a user, I want a pop-up confirmation when deleting an item. All right. Identify the principle that this user story violates. Which one? As a user, I want a pop-up confirmation when deleting an item. So which principles does this user story violates? Independent, negotiable, variable, and estimable. Alright, I'm gonna pause the quiz pause this question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, let's see the results. Okay. Yeah, independent, negotiable, variable, and estimable. I would say that the correct answer to this one should be independent. You know why? Because the user story itself depends on the action, right? Depends on some of the other action. The item must be deleted first, so this user story can perform the action, right? Then the pop-up confirmation can show up, that kind of thing. So it violates the independent principle. Okay, is it negotiable? Yes, it is. It is. We can implement the pop-up confirmation at any time. We can postpone to the next sprint whatsoever. Is it variable? Well, partially, I would say, at least when we read the user story, we know what is the value, right? So, if you think about the design principles, okay, it follows one of the design principles. When we delete something, it shows the pop-up confirmation. Yeah. Is it estimable? Yes. Yeah. We can implement this one within 1 or 2 days. Yeah. All right. So the correct answer should be independent. Okay. It violates the independent principle. Next. Not yet. Okay. So I'm gonna continue the lecture content here. All right. I'm gonna continue what is the story point estimation. Okay. Okay, next, once we understand, okay, one more question. Can you explain estimable again? Sure, yeah. Estimable, right? So what I mean is that we need to be able to estimate the user story, about how much effort each story point is required, that kind of thing. And then we're gonna talk about the story point estimation as well. There are different schemes, different mechanisms, different principles. How can we estimate the story point? But at least it should be small enough so it is estimable, right? And for example, as I mentioned before, as a client, I want a mobile application for online shopping. This is probably too large and it's not estimable as well, okay? What is the correct version of user story for pop-up confirmation? Correct version, okay. Very good question, right? So let's go back to the quiz question again. Yep, back to this one. Because this user story, they are dependent with each other, you need to break it down into 2 user story. For example, as a user, I want a pop-up confirmation so I know what is the action that I did. Okay, the blah blah blah, and another user story. As a client, I am able to delete an item in the shopping cart so that I blah 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 something. Okay, make sense? So break it down. This is the 2 user stories. Yeah. All right. Any other questions before we move on to the story point estimation. Right. So why do we need to estimate the story point? Why do we need to estimate the task? Because if you want to deliver the software on time, you need to figure it out. How long does it take to build each feature? How much it will cost? That's the purpose of the estimation. If you don't estimate, you won't get the right quote. You won't get the right project planning, that kind of thing. You won't deliver the features on time, right? Because within the sprint, within the project, we have a limited budget. If you don't estimate how much each feature will take, you may not be able to complete the implementations of all of the features within the constraint, within the time budget. However, estimation is really hard, to be honest, right? Because the requirement is really vague. The one of the user story is really high level. As a user, I want to complete the payment system. I want to complete the payment using the credit card, MasterCard, Visa, or whatsoever. But there are lots of details behind this feature about the payment option, right? So that's why it's really hard, and it depends what is the unit of measure that we are going to use as well. Okay, for example, this is like what is that? Yeah, so it is really hard, and the simple view here, let's say I can write X lines of code in an hour. What I mean is that when you estimate the task or the job, that kind of thing, some people use the lines of code, okay, to estimate. With this feature, probably we need, like, let's say 1,000 lines of code, which should take, based on the speed, blah blah blah. They just multiply by the hours, and then you get multiply by the speed, and then you get the hours, right? But it's not really accurate anyway, because the lines of code, it depends on the other factors as well. Does the line of code only focus on the implementation or the unit test, or the other things as well? What if it changed the specification? Think about the UI, right? HTML, CSS. There are so many technical parts involved in the lines of code, that kind of thing. So it is really hard. And in the past, in some of the projects, they estimate based on the man hour as well. That could be a unit of measurement. For this feature, we may need 6 hours to complete. Okay, that's the man hour, and then you multiply by the cost, and then you can estimate how much does it cost to implement this feature, that kind of thing. Okay, and yeah, it is so hard. That's why we need to talk about the technique to estimate. I'm gonna talk about that in the next few slides as well. But for this one, when we do the estimation, there are two types of the estimation, right? Absolute estimation or the relative estimation. Absolute estimation means that for this feature, we're gonna take 5 days. For this feature, we're gonna take 1 day. But for the relative estimation, it means that this feature may take longer than feature B by X%, that kind of thing. That's a relative. It has a comparison, okay? And most of the story point estimation technique that are used in the market at the moment, they use the relative estimation. Why is estimation hard? Because the team does not have complete control over the project and its environment. In real world, everything is very fragile. There are lots of multiple factors that involve in the project, right? Technology change, API obsolete, that kind of thing. But happens every day, so it is very hard. And one good predictor of future performance is the historical performance on the previous or similar projects. Normally, we can use the past experience. Given this kind of feature, in the past, we use X numbers of days to develop or to implement. Probably the new feature, which is similar to that one, we may use roughly the same amount of effort. Okay, I'm gonna look into the in the Zoom chat is good, and there are lots of human cognitive bias as well, right? Or the experience of the developers, right? Junior developers may take longer time to implement experienced developers may take a shorter amount of time to implement as well. So there are too many factors involved in the estimation. Okay, and the hardest part is the precision. One person may take 55 hours. Another person may estimate it may take 56 hours. Are they really different? Does it really matter, right? So yeah, so I'm gonna talk about the technique here. We can use, as I mentioned, there are so many units of measure, right? The man hours, lines of code, the amount of lines of code to implement or whatsoever, but that's the absolute, okay? Absolute estimation. We're going to talk about the relative estimation, which is called story point. Most of the agile teams, they use the size of the user story. They measure the size of the user story as a story point, okay? And there is no relationship with the clock time, the ideal time, the actual effort or whatsoever. Story point is not about the, for example, the story point of 1, it doesn't mean that it takes 1 hour to complete. No, it's not, okay? It's just about the relative size. Let's say for the small task, they estimate as 1. They're gonna use it as a reference. For the other task, if they feel that it should be 2, it means that this task, it takes 2 times to complete when compared to the story point of 1. Okay, make sense? Yeah. And there are lots of scheme as well. For example, we can use the Fibonacci scheme. We can use the powers of 2 as well. For example, for the Fibonacci scheme, right? That's the number, okay? 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, that kind of thing. That's the Fibonacci scheme. The story point of 1 means that's the baseline. The story point of 2, it means that it takes 2 times to complete that user story. Okay, 3 times larger than the user story with the 1 story point. That kind of thing. Okay. Yeah, that's a Fibonacci scheme. Or we can use the t-shirt size estimation as well. So, for example, when we wear a t-shirt, there are 4 sizes already: small, medium, large, extra large. We just estimate whether this task is roughly a small task or not, or a medium task, medium-sized task, or a larger size task, or the extra large task, right? And small, we can determine that small, it means that we only take a few hours, 2 to 3 hours to complete. Medium, it means that it takes a day or so to complete. And large, it means that it can take a week to complete, right? Or extra large, it can be like more than a week to complete. So that's a bigger one, okay? That's a t-shirt size estimation, okay? Another technique is called planning poker. What does it mean? It's like a gamified technique, right? To estimate the user story. It is designed to avoid the morale sapping arguments. What I mean is that, let's say when we estimate the story point together, everyone in the team comes together for this task. How much effort is required? Okay, one person said 5, another person said 6, another person said 7. Then we cannot reach the consensus together at all. Then planning poker is one of the techniques to help us to estimate the story point. And what does it mean? It means that first, okay, a customer will read the story. I would say it should be the product owner, okay? Within the team, we're gonna read the user story together, okay? And each member in the team, they need to estimate how long does it take to complete this user story, how much effort is required to complete this user story, okay? They have the card, they're gonna bring the card, show to everyone, okay? And then the team will discuss if they cannot reach the consensus, okay? But once they reach the consensus, then they're gonna assign that story point as a representative of the user story. Make sense? Okay. All right. That's a round of the planning poker, okay? But I'm gonna show. I'm gonna open the video. This one. Okay. How the planning poker works.
Press the bell icon to stay updated with Knowledge Hut.
Hello and welcome to Knowledge Hut. In this video, we will be discussing a very popular agile estimation technique called planning poker. Let's begin with understanding what is meant by estimation. In software development, an estimate consists of a quantified evaluation of the effort which is necessary to carry out a given development task. This is most often expressed in terms of duration. The intent here is to aggregate many individual estimates so as to obtain an indication of the overall duration, effort, or cost of a software project. Planning poker is a consensus-based estimate technique. In Agile, it is used to estimate the product backlog. Story points, ideal days, or any other estimating unit can be used with planning poker. So how do you use planning poker for Agile estimation and planning? At the start of the planning poker session, every person in the team holds a deck of planning poker cards. Each card contains a value, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 20, 40, and 100. The product owner or customer then reads an Agile user story or describes a feature to the estimators. Here the term estimators means the whole team. The estimators discuss the feature to clearly understand all of its aspects. When they are done with discussing the features, each estimator privately selects one card to represent his or her estimate. All cards are then revealed at the same time. If the value selected by all the estimators is the same, then that value becomes the estimate for the story. If not, then all estimators discuss their estimates further. The estimators who selected the highest and lowest value should especially share their reasons. After further discussion, each estimator reselects an estimate card, and all cards are again revealed at the same time. This process continues until the consensus of all the estimators is achieved. When everyone is holding up the same number, we are done. That number is written as the estimate and we move on. But if the numbers are different, we discuss it and estimate again. When there is a tie in the voting between two sizes which are consecutive, for example 5 and 8, just pick the larger size and move on. It saves a lot of time and also saves the team from the perils of running out of time due to an underestimation of the size of the task. If the difference between the estimates is very large, for example 3 out of the 4 people are holding 5 and 1 person is holding a 100, then there is clearly either a product uncertainty or technical uncertainty regarding the task. In such a case, it is better to put the story aside and come back in the next meeting after doing proper research. So this was how you play planning poker for Agile estimation and planning. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more such informative videos and visit our web.
That's right. That's how to use the planning poker to estimate the Agile story point. Okay. Yep. And these are the two estimation techniques that I mentioned before. The left one is the t-shirt size. You have t-shirt size small, medium, large, extra, that kind of thing, and you already have the value assigned to that, right? And when you estimate, you just use the small, medium, large, extra large rather than the actual number. Okay. The bucket system, it means that you already have the number already, and then you assign, okay, whether the task is aligned with the bucket 0, bucket 1, bucket 5, bucket 8, that kind of thing. Okay, and then you know whether most of the cards that you have, they are like a big one, a big bucket, or the small bucket, that kind of thing. Okay, that's the bucket system. Okay. To use the purpose of the story point estimation is to estimate the velocity of the team as well, like whether we are progressing well or not. Okay, and when we velocity, normally we use to measure the progress of the team. Okay, that means I should use this figure to explain. Normally in a sprint, we use the burn down chart to measure the velocity as well. We start from the y-axis, okay? These are the story points remaining in the sprint backlog. Let's say in the 2-week sprint, we have 100 story points. That's the budget, okay? And each of the sprint, we need to do the task prioritization. For each of the user story, one of them may take, let's say, 1 user story, 2 user story, 5, 6, or whatever, 5, 8. And then once the user story is complete, it means that the remaining hours or the remaining story point will be decreasing over time. So now we can measure the project progress, okay, whether the actual is aligned with whatever we project or not, okay. And this is an example of the x-axis, the 12 days of the sprint as well, okay. Make sense? And just want to remind everyone that the user story don't leave the backlog until they meet the team's definitions of done. That's the next step that we need to discuss as well. What does it mean by the definitions of done, and how can we test whether we deliver the user story complete or not, right? So to do that, normally one of the user story must have the acceptance criteria. What does it mean is that it defines the boundaries of the user story, and it is used to confirm whether the software is intended or not, or whether the user story is completed or not. That's the acceptance criteria, okay? And in simple words, the criteria is used to test the user story is implemented as expected or not. Let's take a look at an example. Let's say we have a smart home application, okay? One of the user story could be, as a homeowner, I want to be able to dim or brighten the individual light globes so that I can create my ideal lighting, okay? That's the value. And there's a purpose as well. We need to dim the light. How can we test it? How can we ensure that this user story is implemented correctly, right? The acceptance criteria must be written in the bullet point like this, and it must represent the flow of the activity, right? So first, the user will select a globe and then see this wheel, okay? Yeah, see the wheel. And then the wheel should use the slider control so that the user has the full range of brightness levels available to them, okay? That's how does it look like in the screen. When opening this wheel, the initial slider position should reflect the current brightness of the selected globe, okay? That's how we test whether I want to be able to dim or brighten the individual light globe or not. And the time for a light globe to respond to a change made by the user should be no greater than 1 second. So it is responsive as well, right? It's not like, yeah, we're gonna change the dim the light globe and it take like 5 minutes. So it's a useless system, that kind of thing. This is an example of the acceptance criteria. So it must be written in the spec, like a workflow in a scenario, how the user should test the system to ensure that user story is implemented completely and correctly. Make sense, everyone? A few more examples, okay? As a customer, I want to check the balance of my bank account so that I can perform transactions. Perform means like withdrawal or the deposit, okay? An acceptance criteria here could be, first, customer log into the system before checking the balance, and then they can check the balance for all of the account as well. Balance all of the account is displayed in the mobile application, okay? So go back to the user story. As a customer, I want to check the balance of my bank account so that I can perform transaction. Is it true? Yes, it is, because I can check the balance of my bank account, right? But to check the balance of my bank account, I need to log in first. Yeah, this is an example of the acceptance criteria. Next, example 3. As a customer, I want to transfer money from my account to another bank account so that I don't have to go to the bank for making such transactions. Okay, yeah, they want to do from the online bank, the mobile application, right? First, I need to log in. Customer log in before transferring the amount. That's the acceptance criteria. Before do the bank money transfer, the system should check as well whether the receiver account number is valid or not, and they need to validate the everything before performing the transactions, okay? Also, they need to check as well whether the local account balance is correct or not. Do we have enough money to transfer? That kind of thing. And then, if everything is okay, the local account balance is updated and the display. The money transfer transaction can be performed or executed. And then the system update both accounts concurrently. Our account is updated, we transfer the money already, and the other account is updated as well. Make sense, everyone? Okay? Make sense? Yep. So, what does it mean? When we have one user story, we need to write the acceptance criteria to ensure that this user story is completed and correct. But, as I mentioned here, the user story don't leave the backlog until they meet your team definitions of done. We implement the feature complete. The feature is implemented completely and correctly, but it doesn't mean that it can live. What about the QA check? So that's why we need to write the definitions of done. And then what does it mean? Normally, it is the general requirement for testing and the QA purposes. Okay. For example, what is the code review requirement? What is the requirement for the unit test code coverage? That kind of thing. Okay. And one of the example could be here. Okay. One of the example, maybe I should show the example, and then this is the examples of the definitions of that. Okay, let's take a look at the Moodle LMS system. Normally, when we develop the product, okay, we need to understand what is the vision. What is the visions of the Moodle LMS? In this case, we want to revolutionize online education by providing a user-friendly and comprehensive LMS platform that empowers educators and learners to achieve their full potential through personalized and interactive and data-driven learning experiences. This is the vision of our Monash LMS. Let's say this is an example, alright? And to achieve this vision, we come up with the goal. And the primary goal here is to increase the student engagement and improve the learning outcome by 20% within the next academic year. This is what we want to achieve. This is the goal. And once this goal is achieved, we have the outcome here. The expected outcome of our LMS implementation is a significant reduction of the dropout rate. Okay, that's the outcome, right? Students learn better. It can do the online educations or whatsoever. They understand everything really well. The dropout rate is reduced. It can increase the student retention as well, and they happy with the set to score or whatsoever. This is the outcomes of the Moodle LMS transformation. Okay, to achieve this goal and the outcome, they come up with several themes and the epics of the feature for the LMS system. For example, we want to enhance the learning experience. This is the epic. And this epic involves redesigning the LMS user interface to improve the onboarding experience for both educators and the learners. Okay, this is an example of the epic. We want to enhance the learning experience. And to enhance the learning experience, they come up with the two features. First, we want to streamlining the course creation. And second, we want to provide the personalized learning pathway. If you learn this, you pass this, what would be the next unit that you should enroll? That kind of thing. Okay? And to provide the learning experience is like from both perspectives, right? For the educator and the student as well. For the student, we want the personalized learning pathway. But for the educator, we want to streamlining the course creation. Okay? Let's take a look at the user story. What is the feed? For the feature one, streamlining course creation. Why do we need to do? Epic, the feature, it doesn't tell the value. The value is written in the user story. As an educator, I want to be able to easily create and manage quizzes within the LMS so that I can assess my student understanding of the course material. This is what I'm doing, right? I have the quiz and then I assess your understanding, whether everything is aligned or not, right? And to check, that's the acceptance criteria, right? To check whether this feature is implemented correctly or not. This is about the quiz, create and manage the quiz. The platform should allow educators to upload various file types or whatsoever document, okay, to the system. Educators should be able to create quizzes with different question types and set due date for the assignment whatsoever. There should be an intuitive interface for organizing course materials and the modules. That's how we create the course, okay? We create the materials, create the quiz, create everything. That's the feature for the educator. What about the student? What does it mean by personalized learning pathway? As a student, I want the LMS to recommend personalized learning pathway based on my strength and weakness and learning preference so that I can optimize my study time and improve my understanding of the subject matter. Okay. To ensure that this user story is implemented correctly, the platform should gather data on the learner's performance and use it to suggest additional resources, quizzes, and the review materials. Learners should have the option to choose their preferred learning styles such as video tutorial, interactive simulations, or the text-based resources. It should provide the recommendation to adapt as a learner progress through the course as well. This is an examples of the acceptance criteria. All right, but these two features are complete. Okay, it can be tested based on the acceptance criteria, but it doesn't mean that it is done. Have you tested the feature or not, right? So suppose you are the technical leader of a team, you are responsible to define the done criteria as well. And these are some of the definitions of done. For example, this feature is done once the automated test coverage is achieved over 80%. Okay, the linter tool is executed with no warnings. The UX designer has approved change in the front end, if any. The code has been reviewed by at least one team member. The code was merged into the development branch. This is the technical requirement, technical list, technical checklist as part of the definitions of done. Okay, once the feature is implemented, the definitions of done is met. Okay, all of this, then the user story can leave the backlog. Okay, it's clear, all done. All right, any questions? Any questions? If not, we're gonna continue the quiz as well. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So I see the questions in the Zoom chat. You try to post everything and then I'm gonna go back after the quiz. Okay. Yep. So the first question, what is a planning poker? It is a card game used to estimate the effort or relative size of the user story. It is a game to play during the agile team meetings. It is a technique for assigning tasks to the team members. It is a method for tracking the project progress. What is that? What is a planning poker? Not the real poker in the casino. All right. This is a planning poker for the agile team. Agile estimation. All right. I'm gonna pause the question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yep, let's see the result. Yes, that's right. The majority of the students got this one correctly. It is a card game used to estimate the effort or relative size of the user story. Planning poker is part of the agile estimation technique. Okay, it is a card game used to estimate the effort. Is it a game played during the agile team meeting? It's not just a game, but the purpose of the planning poker is to estimate the user story. Okay, is it a technique for assigning the task? No, it's not about task assignment. It's not about task allocation, and it's not about the method to track the project progress as well. To track the project progress should be the burn down chart. Okay, for the burn down chart, we use the to track the progress, whether we are on track or not. We can measure the velocity, how much budget is left, how much task is left, that kind of thing. Okay. What is the purpose of prioritizing user stories? Why do we need to prioritize? In our ideal world, if we have unlimited budget, we don't need to prioritize everything. Okay. Yeah. Why do we need to prioritize? First, to determine which stories are easiest to implement, or to ensure that the most valuable features are developed first, or to satisfy the needs of the developers, or to align with the marketing strategies. Okay. When develop software products, who are our boss? Who pay the money? Who pay our salary? Yeah. All right. 53 people have answered. All right, I'm gonna pause this question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's see the answer together. Yeah, that's right. So the correct answer should be B-boy, to ensure that the most valuable features are developed first. Yeah, and this is the value to the customer. Whatever the customer need, we want to do that. Clearly not the DDoS. Marketing strategy should not be part of the task prioritization. To satisfy the needs of the developers, no, not for us. We develop the products for the customer, not for us. Okay. To determine which stories are easiest to implement, we will not prioritize the user story based on the easy or the difficulty. We only prioritize based on what do they need first. Okay, the value. Yeah. For example, we want to develop a login, the online shopping application. Should we develop the login feature first? Probably no, despite it is the easiest one. But the most valuable feature should be the shopping cart, right? That's the main purpose of the online shopping application. What is the purpose of acceptance criteria in a user story? Okay, to outline the technical architecture of the feature, to define the boundaries of the user story and determine when it is complete, to provide marketing slogans for the feature, to describe the user's emotional journey. What is the acceptance criteria in a user story? What is that? What is the purpose of the user story? And I am going to pause the question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Alright, yeah, that's right. The correct answer should be B-boy. Okay, most of the students got this answer correct. The purpose of the acceptance criteria is to define the boundaries of the user story and determine when it is completed. Okay, it's not about the technical architecture of the feature at all. Okay, this is the acceptance criteria. Straightforward, the criteria. Okay, to meet and to ensure that the user story is accepted, it is completed. All right, next. What is the definitions of done in the software development? What is the definitions of done in the software development? It is a document outlining the tasks to be complete in a sprint. Is it a checklist of criteria that must be met for a product increment to be considered complete? Is it a meeting where stakeholders discuss the project progress? Is it a tool used for estimating project timelines? What is the definitions of done in the software development? What is that? Yep. I'm gonna pause the quiz in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, let's see if everyone got the correct answer or not. It should be B-boy, clearly. Very clear. Yeah, B-boy. Yeah. It is a checklist, okay, of criteria that must be met for a product increment to be considered complete. Yeah. It's not about a meeting where stakeholders discuss the project progress at all. Definitions of done, it is the definitions of what we consider as done. Okay. It's not a tool used to estimate the project timeline. It's not about the document outlining the task to be completed in a sprint. Definitions of done is for a user story. It's not for a sprint at all. Okay. Yeah. A document outlining the task to be complete in a sprint, that's called a sprint backlog. Okay. That's the backlog. Sprint backlog is a list of tasks, what is need to be done in a sprint. Yeah. That's the sprint backlog. All right. How does the definitions of done related to the user stories? It specifies the technical implementation details of a user story. It outlines the steps need to be deployed a user story to production. It defines the criteria that must be met for a user story to be considered complete. It describes the user satisfaction with a completed user story. Okay. Not too difficult. All right. Okay. Hurry up. Yeah. I'm gonna pause the quiz in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What is the answer? Okay. What is the answer? It should be C. Very easy. Yeah. It should be C. Okay. It should be C. That's right. All right. Then, okay, no more quiz, no more question. Then I'm gonna go back to the questions in the Zoom chat. All right. What is that? Maybe first question. I don't know what exactly is the meaning of the backlog. Backlog is just think about the Trello. Okay, I'm gonna show you. This is an example. Maybe this one. Yep. This is a backlog. You have a task in the backlog. As a user, I want to so that you know. And then this is you have a lot of things here, right, in the backlog. When you manage the project, before you start the sprint, you need to allocate the task to the sprint. Hey, look, in the sprint one, these are the things that we need to implement. Once you start implementing it, you just move to the in progress. Once you finish, then you can move to done. Okay, that's how you move the task along the Trello. Okay. Could you please explain more about the difference between the definitions of done and the acceptance criteria? Yes. Acceptance criteria. You have a user story. Okay. Login. Acceptance criteria is about how to test the login feature. How a customer should use the login feature to ensure that the user story is implemented correctly and complete. But is it really done? Done means the program, the software is implemented correctly and complete. But is it well tested or not? Is it done? Is it checked by the other one, by someone else? Is it deployed yet? Okay, or do we just leave it there? So it's different. Acceptance criteria is the step how to test that user story. Definitions of done is the criteria to ensure that it is done. I don't know how can we explain it better. Okay. Is it clear to you? Thank you. Okay. Now I have a very good one here. Let's take a look at this one together. Okay. So we have the theme online shopping. Okay. We have the feature. Let's work on this one together. All right. Okay. This is a very good example. Yep. We want to develop an online shopping system whatsoever. We have a feature. The feature name could be about the login, of course. As a user, I want to log in securely using my email and the password so I can access my profile. Okay. And to test this login feature, I would say that first it should be a bullet. Okay. First, the customer, you should write from the person perspective. Okay. The user should log in to the mobile to the online shopping application. Okay. And probably as a user, I want to log in, make it more detailed a little bit, because when we say login, it's two way, using an email address and password so that I can access my profile securely. That's a purpose. Or you can say securely access my profile. You don't want to have any data leakage or whatsoever. First, the user should log in to the online shopping application. The user should be able to input email address and a password in the login page. Okay. The user should be able, this is like a test, you know, UI testing, that kind of thing. First you have the should not log in, should be able to input in the login page, yeah, of the online shopping application. Yeah, that's the first step, right? Should be able to access the login page. First, I need to access the login page. If I cannot access, how can I log in? Once I arrive at the login page, then I can put the email address and the password. The system, the app, should check if my email address and the password is correct or not. It should tell me whether it is correct or not, and if I can log in successfully or not. Okay, it shows the message, that kind of thing. If I can log in successfully, I can access, this is the login, I can purchase the products in the online shopping application. This is an example. Yeah, kind of. Okay, make sense, everyone? Yep. So the acceptance criteria also covers the final point of the requirement for the user story as well as the test, user acceptance test. Yes, that's right. Yeah, acceptance criteria, that's a acceptance testing, user acceptance testing. Yeah, that's right. Correct. Yeah, all good, everyone? Okay, any other questions? I think everything is all good. So, yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for actively participating in this lecture. And then I will see you, everyone, in the workshop as well. Yeah, bye-bye.